You probably heard a lot about MCP servers. What the heck are they for and why would you want one? Especially with Agility CMS, which is a headless CMS. What point is an MCP server gonna do? Let's find out. So Agility has an MCP server that allows you to do a bunch of different things. Let's go through the different use cases, why this is important, especially if you're a developer or a marketer who's working with content or working with the code that renders the content a lot. If I'm a developer, I can hook into the MCP server to help it write my code. It can help understand the CMS better so it can actually get information out of my CMS instance. It can put things into my CMS instance. So if I'm writing a component, then it can actually create the model for that component based on my code and the description and the design that I have in my coding project. So in VS Code, I can spend all my time there and not have to spend time going back and forth into the content manager, and I don't have to type everything out, and it'll just figure out all the things I need to create my content models for me. So that's one use case. The non-developer use case, the marketer use case, is really, really cool because I can do something called an AI content pipeline. I can take unstructured content from a Word document or anything, or just could be even a bunch of text, anything, a prompt, some images. It can take that and basically figure out how to put that into my CMS into a way that works for my structured content. So this is super useful. But how do we hook it up? How do we actually get something like Claude to work with our MCP server? I'm going to show you right now. So we go to mcp.agilitycms.com, right? That's the address of the MCP server. It tells you how to do all these things. If we go into the Install Now section, it's got essentially the URL for this and all the different places where we can kind of set this up. And we're going to use it in Claude. So in Claude, I'm going to go to my connectors. I'm going to copy this thing, and I'm going to actually make it work. So I'm going to open up Claude here, and I'm going to go to Customize, which is a new thing there. So the connectors used to be under Settings, and I think you still can go there, but now they're under Customize. So I'm going to add a custom connector. I'm going to call this Agility CMS. I'm going to paste into that URL there, and I'm going to click Add. Now I'm going to click Connect, and what this is going to do is it's going to authorize Claude to basically work inside Agility as me. And these are all the tools that it has access to do. And what it's going to do by default is going to ask for needs approval. Now I've already used this before, so I've got a whole bunch of things that are already set up that will automatically do some of the tools, and some of these other things it's going to ask me for permission as it goes through. Now let's actually go in and see what it's like to use this MCP server to essentially talk to my Agility CMS instances. We can actually get stuff out of them and put some stuff in them, sort of a push and pull architecture. Let's dig into that. So I'm at a new chat here, and I can tell it specifically to use a particular connector like Agility, or I can turn off some of these other ones that I've got set up here. I've got all kinds of connectors. Or I can just say something like, what is the demo 26 Agility instance all about? Just ask some questions, and it's going to go and it's going to use the connectors that it thinks it needs to know. So it's going to go and get the available instances that I have. It's going to figure out what tools are useful for this particular thing, and it's going to go get a bunch of information. And what I love about this is people can learn how to use their instances because it's kind of hard to kind of click through and kind of discover it slowly. Claude can pull out everything from the instance pretty quickly and then tell you all the things that are in there. And once we've done that, once we've discovered some stuff, then we can actually learn how to work with it a little more closely. So with a little bit of research, you can actually really dig in. So it's telling me all about this instance, which is really cool. I already know most of the stuff because I worked on it, but if I didn't, then this would be great information about how it's all supported in here. What are the main containers in this demo instance? So containers are like lists of content. So it's got all the different lists and it pulled everything in there that I need to, which is awesome. How would I create a blog post? So we're having a conversation with the CMS essentially. Like legit, this is super cool because I just essentially trained AI on everything that I have access to in Agility. So now it's supercharged with all of that capability. This is so cool. So it's just told me how the post model, which the blog post container is based on, is structured. So now it basically understands all of that stuff about what I would need to do to actually create content in there. So it understands what this looks like. It's got some developer-y stuff. So it's figured all of that things out. So now I can actually use this to create a skill if I wanted to upload stuff. And we've got another video called AI Content Pipelines that does exactly that. Shows you literally how to create, a very reproducible content pipeline. Because in this case, I've got 2 languages. I've probably got something like brand guidelines that I need to follow for my blog posts. Why would I have to do all that work? If I type it all out, and if I have my blog post already with some images and some other creative, I should just copy it into here and let it go. That's the power of MCP, and that's what you get with the Agility CMS MCP server.